All right, jumping into it, 1031 exchange strategies. Strategy number 1, 1031 exchange into more rentals, multifamily, or commercial properties that you own and manage on your own. So this is a way that you can trade up and enter a potentially higher performing investment, maybe going from 4 to 8 units or 16 to 32 or 50 units, or maybe from something like a small office building into a self-storage facility or medical office building. So traditionally, this strategy is what most people think of when considering a 1031 exchange. Now, the problem is that you're going to continue to have to operate and manage that property on your own. So you'll still have the 3 T's, the terrible T's of being a landlord: tenants, toilets, and trash. So you're going to be an active manager. You're going to continue to get those calls at night and on the weekends. You might hire a property manager, but then you're going to have to manage that property manager and make sure they're doing their job, which we found it can be just as much work as managing the property on your own. So you're going to have to continue to manage that property and own and operate it on your own. So another potential problem is over concentration risk. So a lot of times we see investors that are 1031 exchanging into more commercial or multifamily assets on their own. Their net worth might be between, 2 and 5 or $2 or $10 million, and they're 1031 exchanging one property that might be worth $1 million or $2 million into another property that's worth $3, $4, $5 million. So they're over concentrating. They're not building a diversified portfolio with diversified potential income streams and diversified locations, diversified asset classes, etc. So over concentration risk is something to definitely consider. It's important to note that diversification, it doesn't guarantee profits or guarantee anything or any protection from losses, but it's something that you should be aware of, not to over concentrate your investments for investors. So that's strategy number 1, your typical 1031 exchange. Strategy number 2 is a more passive investment option. So it's a 1031 exchange into a triple net lease property or NNN property, triple net. So this is something where you 1031 out of your 15-unit apartment building, maybe in Beverly Hills, New York City, Miami, Dallas, wherever you're at, your 15 or 20 units that you own, or you're selling a business and you have a warehouse that you're selling and you're doing a 1031 exchange, and you're looking for a passive investment. And it's a way where you're 1031 exchanging into a building that's occupied or leased on a long-term basis, typically anywhere from 5, 10, 15 to 20 years, to tenants that are paying the rent, companies like McDonald's or Starbucks, or maybe Amazon or FedEx or Chipotle, any type of these long-term net lease properties, Walgreens, CVS, the pharmacies, they're paying you the rent. You're the landlord, and that tenant, that business, is paying you the rent each and every month. So the potential problems, though, with these types of investments, a lot of people think that triple nets are hands-off, they're passive investments. They're really not. So you've got potential problems with reimbursements. Per the lease, a lot of times these tenants, they have to pay the property taxes or various insurance, etc. But how the lease is written, you as the landlord first have to pay the property tax or the insurance premiums, then submit it to the tenant for reimbursement. Oftentimes these tenants are large Fortune 500 companies. Their staff and people and processes are shifting and moving all the time, and you go pay the property tax on your building, you submit it for reimbursement, and a month goes by, 3 months goes by, 6 months goes by, you're still not reimbursed for that property tax amount. So they're still ultimately liable for that property tax payment, but that tenant, oftentimes they're not really, working super hard to honor those terms of the lease, or maybe they are, it's just they're such a giant behemoth company that it takes a long time. And so as an investor in a triple net property, you're going to be responsible still for tracking down those tenants for reimbursements, tracking down those tenants to, inspecting the property and going, hey, per the terms of the lease, you need to fix the parking lot, and getting them to honor their terms of the lease. And so it's far from a passive investment. I've personally owned over 50 triple net properties in my career, and it's not easy. We have a full-time staff of in-house attorneys, CPAs, accountants, asset managers, property managers, etc., to manage these properties. The reason why we have this staff of highly trained professionals is because managing triple net properties is not an easy task. So a lot of people go into it thinking, oh, this is totally hands off. but in reality, it's just not. And then strategy number 3, and this is what our firm specializes in: 1031 exchange into a Delaware statutory trust, also known as a DST investment. So what is a DST? A DST is an entity used to take title to real estate or hold title to real estate, and it's been blessed by the IRS through Revenue Ruling 2004-86 as a like-kind vehicle for 1031 exchange. So you can sell your 20 units, wherever it's at, or your small medical office building or warehouse. Whatever it is that you're selling, you can sell it and 1031 exchange into a DST. It's been blessed by the IRS. And so these DSTs, typically they're multifamily apartments, they might be triple net lease buildings, they might be self-storage or medical buildings, a whole host of different asset classes in the DST structure available for investors. So the DST, it's a truly passive investment. So unlike the triple net, where you're still chasing down the tenant, getting them to honor the terms of their lease, with the DST, you have a sponsor company, the Delaware Statutory Trust sponsor company, that manages the investment for the investors. And that sponsor company is the one that has the asset managers and the team of attorneys and accountants, etc., to manage that building and do those day-to-day headaches in terms of working with the tenants, working with the buildings. All the stuff that investors used to have to do, now they don't have to anymore because the DST sponsor company handles it.